Surviving the Hard Winter, The Adventures of a Revolutionary Soldier in 1780. Amidst the relentless cold of the winter of 1779 to 1780, a young soldier endures unimaginable hardships on the front lines of the American Revolutionary War. This is the first-hand account of Joseph Plumb Martin, a narrative that brings us face to face with the stark realities of war. Martin's memoir, originally titled A Narrative of Some of the Adventures, Dangers, and Sufferings of a Revolutionary Soldier, stands as a seminal primary source. It offers detailed observations and reflections on the daily trials faced by the Continental Army soldiers, accounts often overshadowed by grand strategic narratives, but crucial for a comprehensive understanding of the war. The winter of 1779 to 1780 was one of unprecedented severity. Meteorological records indicate that temperatures frequently plunged below 0 degrees Fahrenheit, nigh 18 degrees Celsius, with the Delaware and Hudson rivers freezing over, an anomaly that disrupted both military and civilian activities. Snowfall was extraordinary. In some areas, accumulations exceeded 4 feet, over 1.2 meters, and snowdrifts reached heights of up to 12 feet, approximately 3.7 meters, rendering roads impassable. The Continental Army, already strained by shortages, found its supply lines crippled. Soldiers were inadequately clothed for such conditions. Standard-issue uniforms were insufficient. Many lacked proper footwear, some resorting to wrapping their feet in rags or makeshift moccasins fashioned from scraps of cloth and leather. Frostbite became commonplace, often leading to gangrene and necessitating amputations without proper medical facilities. The combination of extreme cold, inadequate shelter, and meager rations tested the endurance of the troops. Morale suffered significantly as the basic necessities for survival were scarcely met. The Army faced not only the physical battles against the British forces, but also an existential struggle against the elements. In January 1780, amidst this unforgiving winter, Major General John Sullivan was tasked with a critical mission: to lead a detachment of Continental soldiers in a surprise attack against British-held fortifications on Staten Island. The strategic intent was to weaken the enemy's foothold and perhaps force a redistribution of British forces. Approximately 2,500 troops were mobilized for this operation. Utilizing sleighs and carriages, they traversed the frozen landscapes, a testament to their determination. The plan hinged on the assumption that the severe cold had sufficiently frozen the waterways, hindering British naval support. However, the element of surprise was lost, likely due to intelligence leaked by Loyalist sympathizers, referred to colloquially as Tories. British forces were forewarned and prepared. Upon arrival, Sullivan's troops faced well-fortified positions with no tactical advantage. A direct assault was deemed untenable. The Continental forces commenced a retreat under harrowing conditions. Pursued by British troops, they navigated back through treacherous snowfields. Joseph Plumb Martin describes the ordeal vividly. Soldiers suffered from severe frostbite. Many lost fingers, toes, or even limbs to the cold. The fatigue and exposure were overwhelming. During the retreat, several men were captured, including one of Martin's close friends, a poignant loss that underscored the personal costs of war. The Staten Island expedition illustrates the complexities of Revolutionary War operations, where environmental factors and intelligence played pivotal roles. Perhaps the most acute hardship faced by the soldiers was starvation. The logistical challenges of provisioning an army under such conditions were immense. Supply lines were disrupted by weather and enemy action, leading to critical shortages. Martin recounts enduring periods of 4 days without any food, a scenario hard to fathom. In desperation, soldiers resorted to extreme measures. One notable anecdote involves men roasting and consuming their own shoes. The leather, boiled to soften it, offered minimal but necessary sustenance. There are accounts, though contentious, of officers allegedly killing and consuming a beloved small dog belonging to one of them. Whether apocryphal or factual, such stories reflect the depths of desperation. Martin himself admits to chewing on black birch bark to assuage his hunger pangs. The lack of proper nutrition had severe health implications, weakening the soldiers' immune systems and rendering them susceptible to diseases. He poignantly states, "If this was not suffering, I request to be informed what can pass under that name." This rhetorical appeal emphasizes the extremity of their situation and serves as a critique of the support structures that failed to meet the soldiers' basic needs. In a strategic maneuver, the Continental Army's Connecticut brigades were reassigned to positions near Staten Island. The 1st Brigade set quarters in Westfield, and the 2nd in Springfield, both located in New Jersey. The practice of quartering soldiers in civilian homes placed significant strain on local inhabitants. Families of modest means were compelled to share their limited resources. This arrangement, while necessary for the Army's positioning, led to tensions and ethical dilemmas about the burdens placed on civilians. The soldiers' daily duties were relentless. They manned guard posts at Elizabethtown and Woodbridge, key locations due to their proximity to British-held territories. These assignments required marches of 6 to 10 miles, often under the cover of darkness to mitigate risks. Vigilance was paramount. The threat from British forces and Loyalist militias necessitated constant readiness. Guards were rotated frequently, resulting in minimal rest. The physical and psychological toll was substantial, exacerbated by the ever-present specter of ambush or skirmish. Martin provides detailed accounts of perilous encounters. In one incident, during a nocturnal patrol, he and another soldier observed suspicious figures near the Parsons house, a known landmark. Recognizing the potential danger of an ambush, they prudently retreated to alert their command. In a misjudged response, mounted troops dispatched to investigate prematurely engaged the enemy, who retreated without significant confrontation. The opportunity to neutralize the threat was lost due to a lack of coordination. At Holstead's Point, a more tragic event unfolded. Despite precautions, a guard post was overrun by a contingent of Loyalist refugees. A sentinel, upon sighting the enemy, discharged his musket to sound the alarm but was brutally killed, suffering 13 bayonet wounds. The assailants plundered the guards' provisions, mocking their paltry supplies of Indian meal, derisively referred to as hog's fodder. This contempt highlighted the disdain held by Loyalist forces toward the Continental soldiers. These episodes underscore the constant peril faced by troops, not merely from conventional engagements, but from irregular warfare tactics employed by Loyalists familiar with the terrain and local dynamics. The cumulative effect of deprivation and perceived neglect culminated in restiveness among the ranks. By late May 1780, the soldiers' endurance waned. One evening, tensions escalated during roll call. A dispute with the adjutant, exacerbated by accusatory language, ignited insubordination. The entire regiment formed on the parade ground, openly defying orders. Officers' attempts to restore discipline were met with hostility. Traditional appeals to duty and honor fell flat amidst the pressing reality of starvation. The situation teetered on the brink of mutiny. Notably, neighboring Pennsylvania troops, also experiencing hardship, exhibited sympathy and considered joining the dissent, a reflection of widespread disaffection. Colonel Walter Stewart of Pennsylvania intervened. A respected officer, he addressed the soldiers empathetically, acknowledging their suffering, and asserting that officers shared in the privations. His measured discourse appealed to their sense of unity and purpose. While immediate conditions did not markedly improve, the incident prompted heightened awareness among leadership about the critical state of morale and the imperative to address supply deficiencies. In June 1780, strategic considerations necessitated the movement of troops to West Point, a fortress whose control was vital for dominance over the Hudson River. The march traversed the highlands via the Clove, a narrow defile offering a challenging route. The terrain was unforgiving. Soldiers contended with steep inclines and rocky paths. On June 25th, the troops paused at Buttermilk Falls, near present-day Highland Falls, New York. The waterfall's name belied the lack of nourishment available. Despite the picturesque setting, the soldiers had been without proper food for over a day, a cruel irony underscoring their plight. Nevertheless, the march continued. The urgency of securing West Point, especially amidst rumors of British interest in the area, propelled them forward despite physical hardships. At West Point, Joseph Plumb Martin experienced a significant transition. Due to his demonstrated competence and reliability, he was selected for the Corps of Sappers and Miners. This unit was critical for engineering operations, including siege works, fortification construction, and demolition tasks. Promotion to sergeant within this corps was a notable achievement, reflecting both trust and recognition of his abilities. The corps required knowledge of mathematics, physics, and practical engineering, a demanding criterion. Martin's new duties included organizing labor details, overseeing construction projects, and ensuring the effective implementation of technical plans. He expressed a sense of fulfillment in contributing to the war effort through these specialized skills. He reflects, "My conscience never did, and I trust never will, accuse me of any failure in my duty to my country." This affirmation encapsulates his personal integrity and dedication amidst the backdrop of adversity. In July 1780, Martin's unit relocated to Dobbs Ferry, a strategic point along the Hudson River. Here, they constructed a substantial blockhouse and accompanying battery designed to monitor and impede British movements by river. Despite the critical nature of their work, conditions remained austere. Provisions were scarce, often limited to salted fish and hardtack, dietary staples that lacked essential nutrients and contributed to declining health. An infestation of mosquitoes, as Martin describes, added to their misery, facilitating the spread of diseases like malaria. The combination of physical labor, poor nutrition, and environmental hazards tested the limits of their endurance. Still, they persevered, driven by the importance of their mission in the broader context of the war. During this period, the infamous treachery of Benedict Arnold unfolded. Arnold, a general previously esteemed for his bravery, entered into a clandestine agreement with British Major John André to surrender West Point, a betrayal that could have altered the course of the war. Martin recounts incidents that, in hindsight, revealed Arnold's duplicity. At the peak skill, Arnold's insistence on solitary accommodations and his guarded behavior suggested clandestine activities. Another encounter involved Arnold surveying roads near Dobbs Ferry alone. Behavior atypical for a general officer and indicative of secretive intentions. Martin sensed an unsettling demeanor, later reflecting on the encounter with the belief that Satan was in as full possession of him at that instant as ever he was of Judas. The plot unraveled with André's capture on September 23, 1780, after he was found behind American lines disguised in civilian attire. Tried and convicted as a spy, André was executed, a decision that stirred considerable debate. Martin offers a critical perspective, highlighting the parallels with Captain Nathan Hale, an American executed by the British without due process. He notes, "Let all who pity André so much look at it and be silent," challenging the sympathy extended to André in contrast to the harsh treatment of American patriots. The tenure at Dobbs Ferry was punctuated by frequent patrols and skirmishes. In one notable event, an American spy boat was ambushed by British forces, employing stealth tactics under the cover of darkness. The vigilance of the American sentinel prevented a complete surprise. Despite this, a fierce engagement ensued, resulting in casualties. A poignant detail is the account of a soldier who, after sustaining a gunshot wound to the head, lingered between life and death until morning, a stark reminder of the human cost of war. Additionally, the confusion wrought by the war is illustrated in the incident of an escaped enslaved person seeking refuge, only to mistakenly approach an American position believing it was held by British Allied forces. Martin also narrowly evaded capture by enemy dragoons while on an errand, a testament to the constant peril faced even during routine duties. His account underscores the unpredictability and omnipresent dangers inherent in the conflict. As winter approached, the Corps returned to West Point to establish winter quarters. The construction of new barracks was imperative to provide shelter against the severe conditions anticipated. The labor was intense. Timber had to be harvested 6 miles away, transported, and fashioned into habitable structures. The soldiers exhibited remarkable resourcefulness and teamwork, overcoming logistical challenges. Despite the improved accommodations, they contended with infestations of rats, a persistent nuisance that reflected the broader hardships of military life. Martin reflects on the culmination of the year's experiences with a mix of relief and continued resolve. The endurance demonstrated by him and his fellow soldiers during this period highlights the steadfastness that ultimately contributed to the success of the revolutionary cause. Joseph Plumb Martin's memoir provides an indispensable perspective on the American Revolutionary War, offering granular details that illuminate the day-to-day experiences of the Continental soldiers. The year 1780, marked by severe hardship, strategic challenges, and internal strife, serves as a testament to the resilience and fortitude of these individuals. Their sacrifices and unwavering commitment laid the foundation for the freedoms enjoyed in subsequent generations. As we reflect on this pivotal period, it is incumbent upon us to acknowledge the profound costs associated with the pursuit of independence. Martin's narrative invites us to appreciate the complexities of war and the human dimensions often lost in broader historical analyses.